So I wanted to go over a modification I did with the factory exhaust. I bought an aftermarket one that was basically a straight pipe and it was way too loud. So I wanted to see if I can modify this. And it basically has two baffles in it, a baffle here and a baffle here. This is a piece I took out. So I cut the cap of it off. This is about 1/4 inch in. But what I did is I took a drill bit and just kept drilling little holes to make sure I was in no man's land basically. You can see a little hole right there. So I drilled holes to find my routing, and I just took a hacksaw and just cut around it all the way around. And then this thing does slide off. However, it slid off with this pipe still attached. This is actually welded to this and it comes out like that. But I wanted to change it up because the inlet here is 1 5/8 ID, inner diameter. And then it goes to a chamber in here and kind of looks like this. So it comes in and it goes to a chamber. This is the first chamber, and one pipe goes clear up to here. Okay, this pipe is also smaller. So it gets 3/16 inch smaller in diameter, which happens to be this one. So you can see this one is a lot smaller than the inlet already. So then it reduces it again, and then it goes through this pipe up into this chamber that then shoots it back down to this pipe, which is smaller yet, and then it goes into this chamber and it comes out like so. So this goes through this one, then it comes back in here, then has to roll in this middle chamber, then it shoots it out the exhaust. But it gets smaller yet. So another 1/8 inch smaller. So you have an itty bitty outlet pipe. So what I wanted to do was make my overall outlet bigger at 1 3/4 inches. But this, like I said, ends up being, let's see here. This is inch and 7/16, and this is 1 5/16. So these are already 1/8 inch different. However, couldn't change this because this was part of this baffle stuck in here. So I thought, well, I'll make this size the same size as this size by putting a hole here to allow it in this middle chamber. And then I had, I bought 1 3/4 ID pipe from AutoZone, and this is a 18 inch piece. So I had set it in here, and I just temporarily sealed it off. And so then I taped it back off, and I put it on the bike, and very little change, even with the bigger outlet and this hole in there. Wasn't happy with it. I wanted more noise, so I ended up taking this entire baffle out, which, by the way, once you cut this out, this thing, sorry, I kind of did that wrong. This piece is actually still part of that. So when you cut this with a hacksaw, this whole chunk comes out like so, and then it's welded. It's welded here, and then here, and someplace else it was welded. So I had to cut them welds off here and here. And then it comes out, and it came out with this pipe, which I had already cut it off anyway, so it just came right out. You can see where that was welded to this piece. This is a new piece, so we'll just disregard that. So when you take it out, then you have this inners, and this thing was sitting in here like so, except for it was down here. You can see my cut marks on here to get this out because it was welded in spots. So I took this entire baffle out, which then allowed me to drill this hole bigger to accept yet a 1 3/4 pipe here. So I put the 1 3/4 pipe here, and all these holes I drilled with the pipe still in it. So this one I had it upside down, so this pipe came through, and I doubled up my hole saws, and that way one sat inside, and then I was able to drill the hole to accept the 1 3/4 pipe. And then I went ahead and made it about the same length. It's about, I think it was 7 inches long. It's about 7 inches long to get past this baffle where it was at. So now it's only yay far from the actual end of the muffler. And then I went ahead and just taped, I used some aluminum tape. I put it all back together, used some aluminum tape to seal this thing off. And I played with this end here. And I initially had it about this long going through there. And it was better, but it wasn't good. What I found out was the shorter this outlet pipe got, the more throatier the exhaust got. So I ended up cutting it. It's 1 3/4 long with it's about an inch, a 1/4 inch inside the muffler still. So, and they're offset just a little bit because you can, I don't know if you can see that or not, but you can dang near see the pipe is in here. So they almost hit each other. But that gives it it gave it a throatier noise. So then I welded this on, which isn't great, and then I just used some of that putty stuff, the high heat putty stuff, and just mushed it around here, and then just painted it. This piece I had to weld in as well. I welded that one in. So basically now it's got one baffle. It's got so this is how it would look. Yeah. So it's got the inlet to this, and then it goes straight shot, and this bounces off this end piece, and then finds its way out. And it does sounds decent too, because it has some packing in here. So it's like just fiberglass packing. So it deadens it a little bit too, so it's not so noisy. And be careful, because my sheathing, it's a little cover, and there's like a little shirt that stuff came out, so I'm gonna have to try and get it back in there when I finish assembling it. So now I'm just at the point where I'm going to weld this piece back on like I found it. Maybe. So I'll just weld it here, here, and then back here again, and then I can slide the stuff back in, and then I'll try to weld the piece around there. And of course this cap goes on. Now I had to, so this is 1 3/4. I had to take these, I just kind of bent the ears down so it would fit over it. But it barely fits now. And then of course I was able to choose how far I wanted it to stick out. And I chose I don't know, about an 1/8 inch, I suppose. 1/8 inch maybe. But it's clearly way bigger than it was. This is what you initially had before. It's a little tiny thing. So it's a little throatier, and it's not so obnoxious. I ended up buying, basically it was a straight pipe off eBay. It's sweet looking, but boy, it was too loud at high RPM. And this will also decrease the weight a little bit, because this thing is super heavy. So when I get it back together, I'll maybe post a video of how it sounds. Thanks for watching.